And so we're going to talk about something that's called one-word branding. We're going to get into that a little bit. By the end of this, I want you to be able to define your keyword. And when I talk about your keyword here, I know most of you who are in the social space, you might think of SEO, keyword search, Google, all that kind of stuff. We're not necessarily talking about that. And so I'll show you the nuance to it. But there was a tool that was given out. Is the link here in the chat? I'm going to try and paste that link for those who weren't in the Slack channel. I don't know, Kayla, are you able to do that? Are you in there? I want to make sure that everybody has the tool. So if you have the tool, can you like do this? Okay, there's a bunch of, cool. Okay, so just pull it up. We're going to talk about it as we go through this today. So I'm not long-winded. And then for those of you who have been on calls with me, you know I just ask a lot of questions and I try to let you talk. So that's the goal of this as well. I'm gonna set it up from the beginning here, and then we're gonna walk through the tool. And then I'd love for you all to kind of talk to one another. So we're gonna try and do some breakout groups where you guys can talk to each other about the stuff that you're discovering, maybe help each other, encourage each other along the way, and then we'll bring it back at the end and talk all together. So first off, branding. We talk about this all the time. Raylan and I talk about this all the time. Branding, it's a word that people know, but it sucks. It's just a sucky word because it's got all these connotations and associations about what people think about branding, building a brand, all this kind of stuff. So what is a brand? I like Marty Neumeier's famous definition of it's a gut feeling about a product, service, organization, or person. It's just a feeling that you have about something. And that becomes that thing's brand. And so I take that one step further and I say it's the associations that people make with you, about you, to you, like the associations. When they see you, what are the associated feelings? What are the associated concepts? What are the words that come to mind? That becomes your brand, and you can't control that part. So the funny thing about branding is you're working really, really, really hard than to give something to somebody who's going to do whatever they want to do with it. It's like when I build a Lego thing for my 6-year-old. Like I spend all this time building this thing and then I give it to them, and then within 2 minutes it's destroyed. The goal is to help them not destroy it and to get the most out of it. But branding is the work of helping them shape those associations, those perceptions of what you are, what you're doing. So it's the art of intentionally positioning yourself for specific associations. Nothing more, nothing less. So let me give you an example. Sports fans in here? Anybody? Okay. All right. Emily, unmute real quick. You know, Emily, you know what? You're going to talk later. Mute again. No one wants to hear you yet. I'm just kidding. Micah, unmute real quick.
What up?
Who's your team?
The Chicago Bulls.
All right. Who's their bitter rival?
Now we really don't have one because we haven't been. I mean, we're just getting good, but historically it's been like the Knicks, and then whoever LeBron was playing for, so the Heat and the Cavs.
All right.
Detroit.
All right. Detroit. So we kind of lost that after the 2000s.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to a Bulls game. You're going to a Bulls game in New York, right? You're walking in and you got the jersey on. You got the Bulls jersey on, and you're sporting the colors every other place on your body. That is branding. You are trying to tell other people that you are associated with this thing, and this thing is bigger than just the team now at this point. Now it's rivalry, it's competition, so there's all the associations that go with it. That's a simple example of what branding is. This happens every day in our lives. It's about positioning us to be known as something. Like we do it with our friends, we do it with our family, we do it with our coworkers, we do it when we walk into the sports arena. Who here had a nickname in high school or middle school or in elementary school? Anybody want to share? Anybody brave enough to share like the nickname? Go ahead, unmute, do it. Let's hear it.
My nickname was Carrie. That's it. Carrie, short for Karina.
Any others? Connor, you're raising your hand over there. You're muted, buddy.
It was Valentine because that is actually my middle name.
Valentine, all right.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have like a name that was given to them by somebody else because like of a characteristic or something? I saw Joe's hand go up. Emily, Jesse, go ahead.
Yeah, so my last name is Van Giesen, and I have a very old soul. So like back in middle school, people called me Geezer, as if I was like an old man. So
Did that shape anything about you?
yeah, I felt like I was like, I kind of identified as, like, I liked when people called me Geezer, like, because they kind of looked to me for advice or, you know, things like that, which again, being a coach now, it's kind of funny to look back, but yeah, Geezer.
Nice.
There you go.
Jesse, you were up there?
Yeah, so we used to go to Starbucks, and back in the day, I roadied for a band, and so they did like Rage Against the Machine type music, and so I would beatbox, and a guy would rap, and we would make money for our coffee, and so they called me J Ready Rock C, so it's Jesse, but Ready Rock, J Ready Rock C.
I love it, man. So like nicknames, they're like these commonplace things that happen to all of us, and I love giving people nicknames. Like I could sit in a room all day and just think about nicknames for people. But what happens is nicknames, they subtly kind of shape our experience with somebody. So like in high school, I had two nicknames. My first one was Beast, because back then, not looking at me now, but back then I was absolutely out of control, wild. I would do anything. I was unhinged, like I was the beast. And so that stuck, and that kind of communicated to other people what was about me. The other nickname I had was fucking dealer, because everything I did caused that kind of reaction. And so these things begin to shape like how people experience you, what they think about you, right? And so all this is it's just branding. And then the other thing that happens is once we kind of get this brand in our heads about ourselves, we do the things that align with that. So I don't know if you're a part of a clique in high school, you know, athletes or drama or band or the smart kids or rebels or whatever you became associated with clique wise, right? You then had to do things that made sense with that clique. So you could sit with them at lunch. You could hang out with them after school, right? You had to do the clique things. So you started to align your actions to that perception, right? And that is branding par excellence. We've all been doing it our whole lives. Now we're just taking it into the context of our own business. And so the last example I'm going to give here is that branding becomes, for a lot of people, especially because a lot of you are coaches, and I think this is really important, branding becomes a safety net for people. It's a way for people to feel safe, and it gives them a perception of certainty with you. So this happens at the site level. Like they just start to become comfortable with you. You guys are working in a world of intangibles, most of you. Some of you have like Emily, Elisa, you have some very, very, Anna, you have some very tangible things, Connor, that they can take away, right? They can see if the video was good or if it sucked. Emily, they can see if the marketing is paying off, right? Is the revenue generation. But for most of us, we're working with intangibles, mind shift, right? We're thinking about how to reframe other people's lives, right? How to help them reach their goals, like all these things that are difficult to really measure. So with intangibles, people need to feel like they're getting something, like there's a guarantee, even though there's not really a guarantee. And so branding is a way of making them feel like they know what they're gonna get before they get it. Okay, they know just a little bit. And one of the ways this happens is through like consistent voice, through consistent messaging, through a consistent emotion that you're trying to bring out, and your tone and your visuals and all these things that start to give personality to you in a digital space. There's a psychological principle. It's called the mere exposure effect. And there's an author, 20th century author named C.S. Lewis, and he wrote a book, and in it he puts what I think is a great example of the mere exposure effect. And he says, the dog barks at strangers who have never done it any harm and wags its tail for old acquaintances, even if they've never done them any good. Right. So the idea here is familiarity. The mere exposure effect is about familiarity, and humans are the same as dogs in this sense, right? We're just used to certain people, so we trust them more because they're around, because we've seen them. You see people walking in your neighborhood and you just instinctively trust them more than people you see walking when you're outside of your neighborhood, right? That's just how we are as humans. So the mere exposure effect helps us develop preference for things that are more familiar. And now it's not just familiar in the sense of seeing it all the time. Like you could just spam market blast people your crap all the time and they'll just start to like you, because we know that's not true. How many of you love the people who spam blast you all the time, right? Just fell in love with them. You started buying from them right now because they blew up your inbox and your DMs, right? So it's not just how much you see them, how much they can get in front of your face. The familiarity piece is knowing about them and liking them. And to know them and to like them, there needs to be a likability factor there to go beyond the spam blast and say, oh, wow, this person seems very nice and genuine and very like they want to help me with this really generic headline and this FOMO sale. No, there's the familiarity piece. And so branding helps you bridge that gap by bringing personality, by bringing who you are into it, so people can feel safe, they can feel comfortable with you, they start to familiarize themselves with you, and then that leads them to take action with you over time. So I would say the branding it's a long game. It is, but it's also got a long tail. And it's usually this kind of a long tail. So over time, you build familiarity, people come to know you for a solution, for who you are, and then they want to buy from you. So the key here, the most important aspect of branding is defining what you want to be known for, what you want to be known as, because this is why people will come to you. So what associations do you want to create? What feeling do you want to convey? That's what we're going to work on today here in just a second. We're going to get that tool out. We're going to start to define that for you. But imagine, has anybody here ever built a house? I have not built a house. Jesse built a house. My in-laws have built a house. I have a couple friends who have built houses. It sounds like absolute suicide to me, but some people like that thing. But when you go to build a house, you don't just grab a shovel and start digging a hole, right? And laying a foundation. You don't just grab a bunch of house-esque stuff and start nailing it together. I did that in the backyard for the kids' fort and it just fell over. You don't just grab stuff and do it. You start by figuring out what is the function of this thing. What is this house going to do for us, right? I have 3 kids. So if I build a house with 1 bedroom, I am fucked immediately, right? That's it. That's the long and short of it. So what does this thing need to do? Do I have kids? Do I need a workspace? Space for recreation? Do I need a garage? Where's the sauna room going to go? Like, we got to understand the pieces that the house is going to function as before you start. And then you can start to build and design the structure to support it. So you create the blueprint, which is your strategy. Then you start building. What's it going to do? What's the strategy? Start building. So we start with, what do you want to be known for? And the reason for this is, once you kind of understand that, you can work backwards to, how do I accomplish being known for this? How do I accomplish creating this emotional experience? How do I accomplish creating these associations? We got to know what associations you want to create first. So grab out your tool, pull it up on your screen. If you're on your phone, I'm sorry, if you can print it super fast, cool Wi-Fi printer. We're going to start with this first blurb. Does everybody have it out? You guys need like another second to get it out? No, I will take your silence as rapt attention. You're so like involved right now that you can't even think beyond the moment. Okay, cool. So the first thing on this tool is, what do you want to be known for? What's your broad category for being known here? So I put some, tips on there. I'm going to pull mine up here. I put some tips on there, some examples on there, but what is your broad category? So everybody operates within, some sort of overarching industry category, whatever it is. What industry specialty do you belong to at the very broad top level? So I'm going to use 3 case studies as we go through this, just to help you understand a little bit better. And I'm going to use 3 thought leaders. So Simon Sinek, Brene Brown, and Elon Musk. We're going to just look at how theirs plays out. So Simon Sinek at the broad level is in the category of leadership. Okay, that makes sense for most of us. Brene Brown, her broad category is social psychology. And then Elon Musk, his is technology. So you see at the top end what these people are in. I'm in branding. So this part is simple for most of us, right? This is the category I'm in. Some of us have never really thought about it in that way, And so it might take a second of work to really think through what category you're going to be in, that you're going to contribute to. But knowing this will help you shape the rest of it as you go. So we're not going to necessarily fill it in right now. I will give you time after, but I want to explain each one of them as we go through it. So that's the first one. Understand your broad category. Simple. The second one, what is your subcategory? So what is it within that broader category that you do? How do you narrow the field down here a little bit? What's your specialization? So again, Simon Sinek, leadership is his umbrella. His next, his subcategory of that would be empathetic leadership. Brene Brown, under social psychology, it's human connection. That's her specialty. That's where she focuses. Elon Musk, it can be debated, but innovative or disruptive technology. That's his baby. Me, personal branding, from branding to personal branding. So it's a bit of niching down, but that's not necessarily the purpose of this. We're not trying to niche. We're just trying to understand how we function within the broader category. Does that make sense? If you guys have questions, unmute and just shoot out your questions, because I have crap on my screen, so I can't see your hand up. Make sense? Everybody feeling good? Great. All right. Number 3, this one is, to me, this is the most difficult one and the most important one. What is your approach? What does it look like? What is your method? What results are you interested in? This is the one where you really start to narrow down what it is you do, and then how can you be known for that thing? So Simon Sinek, his approach to empathetic leadership has always been starting with why, right? That's a super familiar catchphrase for him now, right? Starting with why. That's what he takes people through. He wants them to understand who they are, what their bigger vision is in this world, how they accomplish that vision, and then to bring that out into whatever they do. He works with leaders to do that. He challenges corporate culture to think that way, to get away from just results driven to purpose driven, mission driven, vision driven. So that's his approach. He trains leaders to think this way. Brene Brown, her approach to human connection has been to explore courage, vulnerability, shame, empathy, right? These deeper human connections that bind us all to each other that we don't talk about a lot. That's her approach, is to get people engaged in those conversations. And then Elon Musk's approach is to be on the cutting edge. His approach is to challenge everything. His approach is to tweet a lot, like get his ideas out there, right? He's disruptive, he's innovative. So that's his approach, is to pick things apart at the cutting edge of how can we do this better? How can we do it differently? How can we challenge the way it's being done currently? Does that make sense? All right, does anybody have questions on that? This is the deep work. This is to go into, like, one way to discover this is to really look at what you do when you're coaching, for example, if you're a coach, when you are creating, your marketing collateral, all that kind of stuff. If you're in the digital marketing space, like, what are the questions you're asking people? What are the results that you're trying to extract when you're talking to them? What are the things that you're measuring? What things are you doing that are different than other people? So this becomes your approach. Good. All right. My approach is, some of you guys have even called me this. It's like brand therapy. I try to get people to the self-discovery stage so that they can build their brand based on who they are, as opposed to their industry, all the things that other coaches are doing. Stop looking at those kind of people and start to look at yourself, draw out who you are so that you build a brand that people can relate to, that you love, that can make an impact. All right, number 5 here. Oops, hold on a second. What am I on? Number 4. I'm on number 4. Okay, number 4, your keyword. So here's your keyword. So this is a bit, again, this process is a bit simplified. You got to do the work on number 3 to get here. But at the keyword stages is where you can extract 1 or 2 of those words from your approach. Sometimes it comes from your subcategory, even. Like, the more known you become, the broader the word you are known for can become. So with Simon Sinek, for example, he's probably, his keyword is probably still leadership or empathetic leadership, which is a big keyword to be known for. He didn't start out there, right? But he built there over time. Brene Brown, she's still known for vulnerability. Like that's still the keyword. Like when you think about vulnerability, you think about Brene Brown. Elon Musk his keyword is innovation. And so getting it down to what am I known for? It could be an industry, it could be an action, right? It could be an emotion, but getting it down to that root of who you are. And again, for most of us at the stage that we're at, you can have a big keyword if you want, but just know that other people, like if you get to like the SEO standpoint, and this is what I was talking about earlier, why this is not necessarily SEO. Let's say, Jesse, let's say yours just became leadership. Let's just say that was your keyword. If they typed in leadership in Google, they're not going to find you. I mean, let's be honest, right? Not yet. That doesn't mean you can't try to be known for that, right? That doesn't mean that's not your target. That's what I'm going to be known for. I'm going to be known for leadership. I'm going to be known for this subcategory of leadership right now. So you can start to say, okay, that's great. That's where I'm going, but how can I get there? And so it's to kind of bring it back down to that. So I would say my keyword right now is brand discovery, which is not a super searchable keyword. No one's really searching that, but it's what I'm becoming known for when I work with people, helping them discover their brands. So think about what your big one is, and then you can also start to shape it to like where you're at now. How can I get there? And then that brings us to number 5, which is implement everywhere. Now, once you get your keyword, once you get that thing that you want to be known for, right? The next step I said was, how do you become known for that? You create a strategy for becoming known for that. And then you implement that strategy, implement it everywhere. And so this is what implementation might look like. Some of these are super obvious, but done over time, they work. So Simon Sinek, for example, he practices what he preaches. If he puts his team out there and his team talks about how he's a phenomenal leader, how he listens, how he helps people grow, right? How he challenges them to get to the next level, how he encourages their exploration. He writes books about empathetic leadership, right? He has online courses. He has leadership programs. He has uplifting apparel about empathetic leadership. So he's saturating it with this idea in every place he can. So the question becomes like, how can I take this and put this idea into action? For Brene Brown, she enacts her personal vulnerability. If you've ever seen an interview with her, she doesn't just talk about how you should be vulnerable. Vulnerability would be good for you. She is vulnerable about her life, about her struggles, about her journey, all these things. So she's putting it out there. She shares her story. She exposes her low points. And she created a podcast called Unlocking Us to talk with other people about that in their lives and how they can become more vulnerable and how can they be open to new experiences. And she wrote books about it. She does professional training and certification programs about becoming a vulnerable leader. So she's implementing it in every way that she possibly can. Elon Musk is really the fun one here. All these other ones you might think, yeah, that's pretty obvious. But Elon Musk, because innovation is, friggin' innovation. Yeah, there you go. There he is. on Raylan's image there. How do you put in disruptive, innovative technology? Like, how do you bring that to life? One of them is that you build a luxury electric car brand. You make your own batteries for it. Another thing you do is you put that car in space, and you do that because you created your own space agency to rival NASA. And then you announce that you're going to go to Mars in 5 years instead of NASA's 50-year plan, right? And then you back some really shady cryptocurrency and make it explode. And then you make all your cars purchasable through crypto. So you push the frontiers of whatever it is. But you can't be known for something if you're not doing the thing. And so whatever it is you say that I'm known for, you have to do those things that make you known for it. And whatever that label becomes, whatever that characteristic or that attribute or that association, you need to say, how can I implement this in everything that I do? How do I do it? And that's the fun part. And that's the part that makes you stand out, because now you're building consistency across everything that you do with an idea. And people catch that idea and they go, oh yeah, that's what Emily does. That's what Joe does. I know them. And that's why I trust them. And that's why I go to them. That's why I listen to them, because this is what they bring to the table every single time. So I got 2 quick case studies and then we're going to break up. What am I doing on time here? I forgot what time I actually started.
Kayla said you're over.
All right.
How much is it?
We'll forget the case studies. Were you messaging
You're
me?
fine. You're fine. Keep going.
All right, just going to do 2 quick case studies. These are clients that I've recently worked with. Just again, so you can see it in action. So the first one is a psychotherapist. His name is Jason Van Ruler. So his broad category is psychotherapy. His subcategory is relationships. He's a relationship counselor. We're getting him known for taking action. So he's the kind of guy that if you came in and you're like, hey, I'm having an affair. I don't know how to break it off. In a counseling session, you say, get out your phone right now. We're going to text her. We're going to text them right now. Let's do it. Like, he's the guy, like, we don't need excuses. We don't need a 10-week ramp up to this. Let's get it going. So we're saying, okay, you're going to be the guy that helps people take action toward a healthy relationship. Actually, I have, he just redid his bio because he got scared. So you're going to see his new bio right here. But what we've done over the past few months is, is just blow him up on that idea. You guys see that screen? Blowing him up on the idea of taking action. So I don't know what you guys can actually see on the screen here, but since we started, when we started, he had 537 followers or something like that. And that was in November. So here's today, 4 months later, something like that. Here's his growth rate. Like, he's going through the roof because he's implementing this idea. He's stuck to the idea, he's becoming known for it, and he's implementing it. And he does it. He's writing a book, and at the end of each chapter, he's putting 3 action steps. This is how you can implement it right now. He's doing reels. At the end of every reel, this is how you can implement it right now. He's doing one-on-one sessions where he implements it right now. He's putting together action-oriented workshops like this, like what we're doing, where people can do it right now. He's becoming known for action. That is his thing. I won't do the other case study because we're over time. But so I'm going to give you 10 minutes, right? Rather than 10 minutes, jump into this tool, 10 minutes on your own. And then when we come back, I think we can do breakout rooms. If we can't, we'll just have people talk together.
We can do breakout rooms. You want
Can
like
we?
groups of 4?
4, yeah, that'd be good at that, whatever the multiple is here. So take 10 minutes and work on it. And then we're going to come back and do breakout rooms. You guys can talk to each other. You guys can help shape each other a little bit in this and get some more clarity. Did anybody find, let's talk about what you just found out. Does everybody get something they feel roughly comfortable with? Like, they feel like they got in the space. They got a good direction to something. Anybody,
Tim,
go ahead, Emily.
I want you to pick on Joe really quick because that was just an awesome session. And I think that you can really help Joe out. So Joe, if you're up for it, my dude, speak up.
I love that. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it.
Don't you love being volunteered?
Yeah. So, I don't know, Tim. I mean, first of all, I appreciate this. The clarity of the worksheet has been super nice. I think you got a really good tool here. And it's just been kind of a culmination of like our couple one-on-ones. And then I've been writing this book. So I'm really trying to find my brand through my writing, through the voice that's kind of coming up. So like I just kind of mentioned, so I guess just walking through it real quick. My industry, my category would be coaching. And then my subcategory would be performance coaching. And then my approach is this is where it kind of shifts, where I want to teach people, habits or disciplines that will allow them to be happy, which will allow them to perform at a high level. So part of my approach is I don't believe that people can be true peak performers if they're not happy, because there's going to be a gap in their implementation or their drive. So the happiness and the joy has kind of been continuously coming up. So the key word for me would be joy, or happiness. I'm still kind of like playing with what, like, I guess would make sense, but like, I want to be the happiness guy. I want you to talk to Joe and be like, fuck, I feel like running through a wall. Like, this guy's the man. And, he got me excited or hype or happy. about attacking the work that I have to do. So I don't know. The one thing I do want to share with people is, you know, even just telling my small group, like breakout group, like I think I've had a long standing fear that people don't want to pay for happiness. So I was trying to craft a brand around accountability or, you know, peak performance because I thought that's what people would pay for. But I'm like secretly just trying to teach them how to be happy. So I don't think I'm always in alignment. So that's why I really appreciate your approach, because when you have me look in, like that's who I am. Like I'm a hype man, joy guy. Like I like to have fun. I like to be, you know, sharing joy with people. So now I think I'll be able to find who wants that, and then they will
Habits
go-
to happiness.
I know. Yeah, we got some love. We got Madison has some fire. Happy habits. Habits. Yeah, for sure.
Habits to happiness. Yeah, I like that. That's actually why I wrote down happiness habits. But yeah. Do you else want to speak to that? Like, so you ask a great question, and this is actually something that I should have had on that worksheet, and I thought about it too late. But once you have your kind of keyword, you also need to think about, now this is the SEO approach. What is my person looking for, right? So this is what I want to be known for eventually. So happiness habits, like, yeah, maybe when you're not known and people don't really get it, like Simon Sinek could probably sell happiness habits right now. People would be like, oh yeah, I get that. It makes so much sense. So it's like, how do you build yourself to that place where happiness habits is your thing? People know it, or habits for happiness, or whatever the thing is. How do you build yourself? So where are you at right now? What are they looking for? What can you provide right now? How can you communicate it right now? And then how can you build it so that everything you do is about happiness? So as you build it, people just know, oh yeah, happiness, happiness, happiness. And then bam, you have your kind of overarching thing.
Yeah, I think Mo for sure. So so here's one other quick thing is like, so my method, I create a philosophy. It's called the focus philosophy. So focus is an acronym. Find opportunities, create unique success. So if you focus, then you're going to find opportunities and create your own success. So that I in the book right now, I refer to these disciplines as focus disciplines because there's something to be practiced. So like, I totally see they could be the 21 happy habits or, you know, habits to happiness, but where does the brand connect to that acronym focus? Like, cause it could be like, I was kind of leaning towards focus, but I don't want to be known for focus. I want to be known for the result of happiness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So one, we have to detach from what we currently have to get an outcome that we don't already have.
Mm-hmm.
So what focus has gotten you where Joe is right now?
Yeah.
What's going to take Joe to the next level is probably not, it might not be focus. So remove yourself of like, especially when you come to these classes or whatever, pretend as if you're starting from scratch and we'll create whatever. And if it's focus, cool. But one thought is like, and it's kind of good timing because hustle culture is getting a bad rap right now.
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of come in, where the one problem, because I always think of problem, like what is the problem? So for you, I think would be you tried the external habit building things. You read Tiny Habits. You read this book. You read this book, and you're still not productive. Mm-hmm. You constantly wake up at 4 a.m., but only to find out that you can only stick to it for 4 days, 5 days. The problem isn't your lack of productivity. Maybe it's something else. So one of the things that we have to constantly think about is how can I give you that aha moment I constantly talk about, guys. So like that aha moment of going, oh, what if it's not me? It's like one of the things, and I think everyone could probably speak to this at some point, right? We've tried many things to be more productive. I've taken Alpha Brain, I've taken this nootropic, that nootropic, I've tried this, I've tried waking up early, and I'm still feeling like my performance isn't where it needs to be. But then I found Joe. And Joe gave me this aha moment. And that aha moment was, it starts from within.
fucking
I
right.
realized I wanted to be productive to be happy. But what if I need to be happy in order to be productive? Siri, shut the fuck up. I was on a roll. Okay. Right. So again, think of it this way. You almost are the anti-performance coach. So again, the way that I do branding is not like Tim, because I have to talk it out. So I have to sell it in order to find the brand. So I think what it is you tried this, and this. But what if instead you've been trying to be more productive to be happy, but what if instead we find happiness in order to be productive?
Yeah, dude. I love that.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it. I actually wrote down happiness without the hustle. Like kind of like get the idea of like, I think Randall's right. Like hustle culture is gone. So and that's another thing.
I'm bringing it back.
That's another branding class, but if being known for something, but also being known for being against something is a great approach. So
because dude, no, that's super helpful. Everybody's been awesome. Thank you.
all right. Anybody else want to jump on? They're a little stuck. They want a little more clarity. They want to talk it out. I love what you said too, Raylan. And that's actually my approach to branding is I don't care what you have right now. So if you guys have talked to me, I'm interested in branding you, not what you do. And then we add in what you do, like from that, like that's the fountain. So you got to detach from what you're currently doing, because what you're currently doing is just what you're currently doing, right? You could be so much more.
I want Chris to go. Because Chris, I feel like, first of all, for those that don't know Chris is a celebrity and we don't ever see him. And so he'll be flying. He's at Mardi Gras. He's on major stages. He's doing all that. And then randomly he pops up. Look, he's got a mic. And then it's like, holy shit. So we still need to fix nothing's wrong with your brand, but we need to, I think we do some tweaking. So let's do Chris.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit at the end there. I heard all the nice words. I didn't hear the very last that you said.
I want to hear your approach, your thing.
Yeah, so I use improv comedy techniques to help people be more charismatic communicators, whether that's a real life stage or one of life's many stages. So people who take my classes are speakers, entrepreneurs, or people who are missing some play and creativity in their life.
So then what's the category?
So my categories are so coaching, my category, so then a performance, a business leadership, and my keyword is improv.
I don't think, Tim, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like his category isn't coaching. I think his category is performance.
So it could be, it really depends on the way that he wants to go with it. So I think that's the tension right now. Like who are you going to end up selling this to? Like we just talked about this the other day. Like, are you trying to coach comedians to be better through improv, or are you going to like help businesses perform better because of like their better communication and all this kind of stuff and how they interact with each other and everything?
Yeah. So I already help comedians like in person in real life, like, and I'm at a comedy club right now doing a class when we're done here. Like I already do that. So I think what I want to be focusing on is higher ticket with businesses and, and leaders.
Yeah.
Not, I know I want to focus on that. So let me be clear. I know I want to focus on that.
Yeah. So probably it's more in that performance. Like,
so what if though, like, again, we'll come back to the category, but what if like right now, every major, let's just talk about the corporate side right now, right? When I talk to corporate people, the number one issue they have right now is lack of resilience. Like literally, I'm going to do a workshop. When are we going to California? Next week. We have a workshop next week. And literally the reason I'm hired is because they're like, all of our people are complacent, right? All of our people are stuck and they're dealing with COVID and war and all this crap. So what if it's the thing that we're giving them is more resilient employees or building more resilient entrepreneurs through the vehicle that is improv? Because think about it from this perspective, the reason why people struggle is because they are fixed, right? It's like the tree that is, it won't bend with the wind breaks. But improv teaches you to be a bamboo tree, to just flow with it, or like Bruce Lee, right? Be like water. So through improv, you will create, I think on the corporate side, if we were to go that way, it would be building resilient employees through the art of improv. And then on the coaches, I think entrepreneur side, again, we got to find which entrepreneurs. It could be coaches, it could be, I don't, whatever. But I'm thinking through, like, what about the stressed out CEO that's managing, 50 employees that, like, they all hate them and they all think he or she's an asshole. But at improv, they get to, like, learn how they could be, like, show the better side. So the thing that I'm curious about is, what problem are we trying to stick with? And I think niching down, you can niche down on the person, or we can niche down on the result. And I think the result is like resilience, because then also with what's going on in the world today, we can even sell it from this perspective of, do you want to break from reality for a fucking minute? Come to this class so you can deal with the world's problems better. So I know we're not supposed to do this, but I'm thinking from the problem we're solving, and then we'll backwards engineer it. So I'll break it, and then Tim can, like, come in and take the puzzle pieces. But Tim, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem ever with working backwards. It's whatever gets to the result that we want to find. So for some people, go forward, some people go backwards. But Chris, does that, any part of that fire you up? So what I like to do is, does that fire you up?
Oh, absolutely. I love that for sure. And I have to be clear, I have done a lot of this work before. I'm very comfortable going into these corporate environments and teaching improv. I've done it for many years, and but I'm eager to turn it up in a big way. And I think that there's a lot of room for me to turn it up. So all this really, really speaks to me. And Raylan, you have like subtly and not so subtly, like, tried to push me towards focusing on this since we met, and I'm ready to go all in on that. So let's do it.
All right, good. So I'm gonna force you to just pick one of those, and that's what we're gonna focus. Not that you can't do other things, like Karina was talking about in our session. You can personalize, you can customize all this kind of stuff, but what's the thing that we're gonna push forward that Chris True is known for? And then we'll build the brand to do that.
Cool.
So your job is now to pick it.
You're saying, like, wait, pick between, like, coaching individuals, or coaching or focusing on corporate?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then, like, in corporate, like what Raylan was talking about, building resilient employees, helping bring teams together, right? Interpersonal business communication. Like what's the result that people are going to get? You choose it, and then we'll build it.
Okay, cool. Are you saying to this right now, or
we can do both? Like, Chris, we could do both, just so you know. What Tim's also just saying is, like, let's do that. Let's build out that brand, and then we'll come back around. So for example, Raylan on Instagram, I'm the coach's coach. On LinkedIn, though, it's mostly, I talk a lot more about, like, sales management and that kind of stuff. So basically, we'll do the same thing with you. Like, on LinkedIn, it'll probably be more towards building resilient employees and whatever, but that also kind of has to have a brand behind it, because we got to build that offer. So here's what I think we're going to end up doing with you, Chris, is we're going to brand it, and then the offer, we're going to build that offer next. So we're going to forget about the coaching thing for a second, and let's build this offer, so that way we have something to speak to in your content on LinkedIn specifically. Again, I wouldn't do this on Instagram. I would do it specifically for LinkedIn, and then we can figure out what that kind of funnel would look like, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Great.
So that's our action steps for the next, like, few months.
Cool. Thrilled. Grateful. Thank you.
And the money, just so you know, is terrible in corporate, just so you know.
Heard that, baby. Heard that. Let's get some terrible money, y'all. Let's do it.
Terrible money. Anybody else want to hop on? What do we got? 2 minutes?
And Raylan, are you good with, we can go over, and if you want, like I can take time away from mine, because I really
that easy.
Oh,
No, we're fine. We're
do we have
fine.
time to help with Lizzie? Because
Yeah,
I'm really,
Yeah, I
Let's
think
go,
Lizzie
Lizzie,
should
and then-
go.
Yeah. We're good. We have an extra hour on the back end. That's the hot seat coaching. So if we have to, we'll cut into it.
All right, Lizzie, you want to do it?
Okay, I will. So my category is coaching, and then a subcategory would be influencing, I think. And so I build health while I help influencers build health while living their life online, and I help creatives remove stress to create from a place of purity. And then I think what's the next thing?
The next thing, then kind of bringing it down to what the keyword is there. But talk about, go back, talk about step 3 real quick. Talk about those 2 approaches.
Okay. So I build health for influencers with living their life online. So like their mental health, their well-being, internally, rejection. I'd go through like how to deal with rejection and abandonment, being addicted to attention, like trying to constantly get the likes, views, things like that. Yeah, Emily gave me the influencer's influencer. So I influence influencers to be better internally.
Love it.
And then with creatives, I remove stress, help them remove the stress so they can create from purity, from a place of not having to worry about what's going on in their life, but build their passions.
Mhm. So it's really the same thing, 2 audiences, right?
Yes.
Essentially,
Yeah, they merge together. Yeah.
yeah, you're doing mindset work for people. That's those are my words, right? So to me, like, that might be your sub industry of coaching, right? It's mindset more than influence. I mean, you can use influencing because you get what you're doing, but you're helping people change how they approach that lifestyle, right? Or their work, essentially. But you do it specifically for influencers and creatives, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you come up with then for your keyword? Did you?
So I didn't come up with a keyword per se. I would think I was kind of like stuck there.
Yeah. Is there anything that you feel like you're known for right now, like with your audience specifically?
Yeah, so a lot of people like call me the soul girl because like my program is called Social Media. So I deal with the soul. Yeah.
Media.
And then I have a product called the Soul Tracker, so they can track their interactions online and like journal it out of what happened and understanding like if they're angry online or if someone ghosted or blocked them, how that actually felt for them.
Yeah. So what do you want? What's the end result?
Holy shit, this is amazing. Sorry, but like,
Fantastic. Yeah, I know.
wow.
Thank you, Raylan.
So define the end result. So someone comes in, they're an influencer, they're always stressed out about their likes and comments, and they feel like their engagement's going down and they're losing their shit. So they're making 75 reels a day and they're just crying in the corner. That's where they're at. And you take them to a place of what would you say? What's their outcome?
Peaceful consistency.
Peaceful consistency. So that what?
So that they're not having breakdowns or like I deal with a lot of people that are on the brink of being inconsistent or quitting. They're like, they don't want to do it anymore because everybody's looking at them. So I want them to be in a place where they can be like in health and know how to process these problems. So like,
so that they love what they're doing.
yeah, they love what they're doing because a lot of creatives love what they do until people talk about it.
Right.
Talk about them.
So you're removing the negative aspects of it. You're helping them build out a mindset so they can, again, this is almost like what we were just talking about with Chris, like there's a resilience to the process so that you can do the thing that you love, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
just breaking.
no, that's like, yeah, it's a perfect way to explain it.
Okay. So then from a keyword standpoint, I'll have to I want to look at your Instagram. I actually love, this is like the coolest. It's really cool thing. And it's really like super like needed. Who have you had the most success with? Can I ask you that? Like,
yeah, I would say YouTubers.
and what's any specific problem though? Is it?
Oh, like specific
I-
problem is like disappearing on their content.
Disappear, like they stop posting? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, they stop creating altogether. So I have people that take like 30 days off, or they'll just be like, oh, I couldn't, I burnt out, the comments got to me. So I usually get them to a place where they can say, okay, I got these evil comments, but I'm going to keep creating because there's a people group that needs me.
Yeah. So you could start to form it around the idea of like healthy content creation, or like, like loving your creation again. I want to dive in with you like in more depth, because I want to pick out some of this, because I know it's
Yeah.
probably already there. The best part is it's already there. We're just going to pull it out. So with some more questions, but starting to frame it around like that, so that you enjoy, you love content creation again. You get back to the passion of the creating without the other mess.
Lizzie, what are you charging for this right now? Like, how much is the program?
So the program's $5K the last 2 times I ran it.
Yeah, and how's it doing?
I had to take a break because I went through a huge like trauma and some mission stuff that I do. But I feel like it's doing well. I wanted to shorten it. It's 8 weeks, but it's 4-hour sessions. And then they get 2 one-on-one sessions. Like there's a lot of offerings with it. So I wanted to shorten it and kind of like drop the price a little bit.
No.
Okay.
No. We can shift the transformation so that way it's less access to you, and while simultaneously increasing the price through there's a bunch of stuff we could do, but I'm telling you right now that if done right, this is so needed, and not just the YouTube space, but also Instagram, that if done right, you should be doing 20, if not 30 a month by doing this. Because think of it this way, right? Imagine you have the program and then you could do a back-end retainer. So that way they stay in it. So think of it like group therapy for YouTubers.
Yeah.
Oh, my life is so hard. People say mean things. Like that will never go away.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah. So I have a band group. So they all stay in it. And then there's an alumni group. So they talk to each other. They help each other like with the tools from the program already. And then I do like masterclass every month for them.
No, I like you could price anchor it, because like, look, if you take a break, like if the goal is to get to the point where they're making, money from YouTube, right? You have to be consistent. So then you price anchor it. And then the other option too is like with the major ones would be like, you do, because I'm really big fan of the back end right now. So then you do something where it's like for the year, it's, 15K, or you do 10K for the year. And then we take a percentage of your monthly earnings from YouTube.
Okay.
There's some, Lizzie.
Yeah.
We got to talk.
Okay.
I'm thinking something along the lines, this would not be the end, but something along the lines of like the creator's burnout coach. I don't know if you want to emphasize burnout or the like balance or something like that.
Yeah.
So get away. Influencer is cool, but it doesn't speak to like what you do. It just makes you sound like an influencer that's more influential than everybody else. So getting you into that space of like really communicating the solution that you bring to the table, like that healthy balance, love of creation. But yeah, and then selling to the influencers who are already making money, right? That's why most of them are influencers. So they got the money to spend. They want to keep doing it. They want to love it more. So that's the solution that we're selling.
Yes, I love that. Thank you.
Subscribing to the soul. Like, because then we can just play on YouTube. Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, no, like as we're talking about this, I'm thinking like, they nowadays, especially after the pandemic, you have mobile like therapy sessions, right? Like virtual therapy has gone through the fucking roof because we realized it was so needed, right? So now, Lizzie, can you imagine yourself creating that space specifically for social or online influencers?
Yeah. Like I would say that's what I feel like I've already been doing for years.
Yeah.
So that's what people come to me for. Like my most DMs are, this happened, how do I get through it? Or how do I process this pain from whatever incident happened to them online?
Yeah. So now, and because I have never heard this on Clubhouse and how many times you've been in the No Bull Morning Show. Right. So
Yeah.
now we get this out, and then Lizzie's going to have a fucking app on Apple, right? Where all of the YouTubers go and talk it out and get through shit. I'm super excited for you.
Thank you, Emily.
I think it's safe to say that based on the reaction of the coaches here, nod your head if we need to get Lizzie and elevated. I'm pretty confident. We got to do that. So, Lizzie, I'm sending you a link in a little bit. We got to talk.
Okay.
Karina and Micah, and then we got to run because we're like super over, and I could feel like heat of like.
No, there's no heat. No, we can continue if it's fine.
I just wanted to add something that Lizzie said. Lizzie, as a YouTuber, I know what you mean when you're saying about that that YouTubers, influencers, people on Instagram, TikTokers. Yes, there's something that when your videos are doing amazing and they're doing fine and you're receiving the comments and you're getting clients, is amazing. It's like, and then it's a roller coaster when it doesn't happen. I personally, I took a break from YouTube, not because of the comments, just because I was exhausted of editing, production, everything. And Instagram was so much and coaching at the same time. So it felt overwhelming. But I have seen friends that have quit YouTube because of the comments, that have stopped putting on TikTok because the comments were so bad. And it's very easy to tell someone, oh, just forget about it, just let it go. No, because we're humans. At the end of the day, we want it or not, we kind of care. And we are sharing, and I believe it's very brave to just be there on camera and share what you know and express your thoughts and everything, because not everyone is going to like you. So I love this strategy that you're putting out there of the soul, because it means that you're connecting mindset with the fact that, the content strategy doesn't have to be only about hustle, but has to do with loving yourself and accepting yourself and understanding your worth. And that happens to a lot of people. Honestly, it does. And it's a great, great topic and a great way to build your brand. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Karina. Yeah, I'll just say, it's a pain point I felt. I did an interview on a channel that had over 1 million subscribers, and I was overweight at the time. And so all of the comments were about how ugly I was. And I cried, and I was going to literally go to this dark space of never doing it, but I was making so much money online. So the things that I created in the worksheets I give them, it's what I did to pull myself out of that space, because I understand it. Yeah.
That's the story. I love it. All right, we're gonna chat.
Okay.
Yeah, get that dialed in. All right.
My face, I'm so excited. Yeah, she's an elevated coach. Micah, and then Tim, we're gonna give you the last word on the session, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, mine's quick. And Lizzie, of course, we're connected, so we could talk more and brain bank on this later. But while you were talking, you were just, because what you're doing is you're giving soul work, and you're giving solutions to these social media people, whether they're YouTubers, whether they're on Instagram, whatever. So what I have written down was social spelled regularly, and then you're giving solutions, but then you can go ahead and you can spell that solutions as SOUL, solutions. So that could be a course, that could be maybe some content that you're actually pushing out, maybe a series on YouTube, maybe a podcast, the social solution. There you go, the social solution podcast, whatever it is, there you go. Take that. I'm done cooking.
Thank you, Micah.
Micah, I love the sign off, man. Remember we talked about going all in on the chef, man. I love the sign. I'm done cooking. That's it.
That's my usual Clubhouse.
Is it? I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Go all in, man. All right. So I hope you got something out of it. And I hope at least you got now you know where your focus needs to be right now, because we need to establish that so we can build the brand out from there. And there's no point in building a brand where you don't know where you're going. So if you don't have that nailed, shoot me a message in Slack, and that's going to be our next thing. We have until March 14th to get you all nailed on that, so that you can move on to the better parts of this thing where you guys make more money. So when we get you through this so that you can make more money. All right, hit me up. That's all I got.
Hey, everyone, round of applause for Tim. Great class, man.